We back this time with full auto Solly. Good news is we get to use a buffed up Mafka. Bad news is the boss isn't a defender and we have to utilize Death Pen. The minimum score to get to is 18k and we will do our best to reach that. I've got two setups to show: a budget team made up of farmable units, banner units, and units available to the new player selectors, and an invested team for those with more resources. You can find the squad codes in the description below, so let me show you what I got. Fortunately, this time we have a lot in our favor for the budget team. We have the origin buff, and a lot of the units that we can use have stability, so especially Amina, so she's going to do more damage, take less damage, and fortunately the boss doesn't attack that often, though she does hit hard, so Amina is going to be able to utilize her immortality a lot better than usual. But unfortunately for the rest of our team, they're going to be dying a lot, so that's why we have Lynchian coming in late, because she's kind of dumb, runs in front, but this sets her up so she misses the first mine and gives her time to ult to give us some precious DP to redeploy all the people that are going to end up getting exploded by the mines. Of course, we have Yushin coming out for some counters here to protect some of our team. And we're going to be utilizing Death Break on the first couple health bars here so that we can push the boss and get her away from our ship so she doesn't explode it. If she gets too close to the ship, she will kill it as quickly as she can. Unfortunately, all that Death Break is useless in this last bar, so things are going to slow down a lot. We're going to definitely sit here and need as much attack buffs as we can, so we have Soyun coming out, give Amina as much as she can. And funny enough, some reason Titan can still Death Break this boss even though she's supposed to be Death Break immune, well, just debuff immune. But apparently that buff, or that debuff, doesn't count as a debuff. It's actually a buff, which reduces her defense, which is odd. The budget team, we are running New Detroit as the ship and Kim Hana as the operator. We got Titan as lead here. We're putting as much anti-ground damage. Obviously, we want to put anti-ground, anti-siege if we can afford it, and his EE, of course. Yomina, we're going to definitely need Yomina to have her anti-ground as much damage. She's the carry here, so anti-ground, anti-siege. Terminators we want on our tanky's gear. The longer they stay alive, the better the first 2 bars of HP are going to be for you. Same for Lin Jin, we want her to be tanky with as much CDR as possible. Jushiun, we need him tanky, but we also do need to give him some skill haste. He doesn't need a lot of skill haste, he needs to get a couple of counters in to keep your team alive, but he does need some anti-ground res so he can take some hits. Yang, the same thing, we do want her on tanky CDR. The more anti-ground res and the more skill haste she has, the better she's going to do here. Tarask we just put on full tank because if not, Tarask just likes to die. And then for Soyun, I just went with full HP on her, as much anti-ground damage. She's not going to do much damage. She's not going to survive without the HP gear. And on the last HP bar, her Death Break is pretty much useless, so she doesn't need the skill haste. She's just coming out for a nice burst of damage with her passive. So we're going to be utilizing everybody's favorite strategy in our invested team here. We're going to be using Death Pin and True Damage as much as we can. Yay! Unfortunately, we can't really use too much Death Break here because the boss at the very end, or once she gets bored, can't be debuffed anyways. So we're just going to have to sit there and stack as much Death Pin as possible. Now, we get to use Jushiun Mom for the first time, which is actually pretty cool. She's got the origin buff, she does true damage every 8 seconds, and she kind of does a good amount of damage on her own. Now, you may see Chinatsu here flailing around, doing a bunch of flashy things that don't really mean much because her healing's been reduced by 90%, but she acts as a pretty good wall because she has the origin buff, so she can soak up a lot of damage, making sure Mavka doesn't take anything, and she does give an attack buff with her ultimate, so you know, that's nice. But our goal here is to keep Mavka as healthy as possible and get her as buffed up as possible so that she can sit there and do work onto the boss. And as you can see, I have Leica coming out here. The Rivet can be used instead, or any 2-cost Ranger. Rivet actually did end up doing more when I was playing with her. I was using Leica because I was hoping with the origin buff that she'd actually be able to survive longer, which is not the case. She dies just as fast as Rivet, so it doesn't really matter on which one you pick. But like I said, any 2-cost Ranger will do, and then it's just letting Mavka do Mavka things and mow down the boss. Alright, for the invested team, we are running Quad as the ship, Sasha as the operator. For gear, we're of course going to have tanky CDR on Lin Jian. You do need inhibitor hands for her, or some good dodging. For Jushun's mom, we're going to go with A speed melee damage. If you actually farmed an A speed full EE set for her, that actually just be better damage wise. Chinatsu, we're actually prioritizing anti-ground res over skill haste. As you can see, we only have 68%. You can skimp on her skill haste as long as her ultimate happens during that line. Sinjia, we want tanky CDR. We want to emphasize CDR more on her for her skill haste. Mavka, as much death pin as possible. All the death pin, just death pin. Ella, we want tanky CDR. We need her getting her counter back as much as possible. That'll help Mavka stay alive. Leica or Rivet, it really doesn't matter which one you use. Just go ahead and put death pin. Quad may not help her, but death pin's still going to be better on her. And then Spencer, we want tanky CDR. She does have the origin buff, so she's going to be a lot tankier and be able to survive more, but we still need ground res, range res, whatever we can get to make her survive. Thanks everyone for watching. If you made it this far, I really hope this helps. Get the minimum score this season. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're feeling extra special, you can join the Mages too by clicking the join button. Catch me on Discord, link is in the description. And if you want to help support this channel, there's a link in the description for that too. As always, I will see you all next time.